all together. Lord, we gather in your name. As children of a sovereign God, forever we proclaim, to God be all glory.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? It is Wednesday, October the 2nd, 2024. Welcome to episode 94 of the Thinking Theologian podcast as we continue our journey through the Bible. Sorry. And so today, we're in episode 94, and these are kind of what we're going to discuss. And so today, we read Matthew chapter 5 through 6. The title of today is Private Prayer. The focal scripture is in Matthew 6:6, and it says this, is that when you pray, go into your private room, shut your door, and pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. And what I want to go over is some areas of our lives are more private than others. I think we're all aware of that, especially if you're married, you understand that. And we often reserve the most intimate parts of our lives for those who we're closest with. And we don't share the details and discuss what happens in those intimate times. Like we don't share we shouldn't be sharing intimate details about your marriage or different relationships you have with just anybody, because they're supposed to be special times you're doing this with. So this can be true in the confines of marriage relationship or even a private conversation if you're talking with someone privately. Like if you go talk to a therapist or a counselor, that's an intimate setting, and you don't want those details to be shared with other people. And so either way, these times are special and they're private. And can one discuss these things publicly? Yeah, they can, but it would violate confidence and trust. And so you understand that a private conversation and how those things privately, one, are more intimate, but also that they show a form of trust. And so in the focal verse today, Jesus tells his hearers how they should pray. So the chapter 5 begins the Beatitudes. He kind of really confronts a lot of the religious hypocrisy, a lot of the things that are going on. But then in chapter 6, he begins to talk about how to pray and what's going on. And before this, he says, don't be like other people and, do your prayers publicly and fasting publicly where people see what you're doing. But instead, he says, but when you pray, go into your private room, shut your door, and pray to your Father who's in secret. And is he condemning public prayer? No, because there needs to be public prayer, but prayer should be an intimate thing, and it should be intentional in what we do. And so that's where I really want to get. So prayer is intimate, and prayer is meaningful. Prayer should be intentional, and when we see that, we see that with one going into a closet and even shutting the door behind them. And so we see how intimate that Jesus is saying here is that you go into a room, shut the door, like you're secluding yourself even more and more away from what's going on around you, even from your family when you're praying here. And it's a really intimate time. And so prayer should be that. Prayer should be passionate, and it shouldn't be a public spectacle. This time of intimacy with the Father will reward us in our faith journey. We should be willing and understand that prayer like this helps us grow our faith, because we're not doing it for the applause of men or even for other people to hear us. Even if public prayer is beneficial and helps edify the body, our prayer life should be different. We should be willing to pray privately and intimately with our Father who is in heaven, who will teach us. And so, so the challenge today for believers is, how much time do you spend in prayer? How much time do I spend in prayer? Is prayer a daily part of your life? I'm not talking about the quick prayers we offer for food or other aspects of our lives. Do you intentionally carve out time to get along with God, with the God of the universe, and have intimate conversations with him? This practice will change your life. Intimate prayer with God changes everything. But most people do not have an attitude of prayer where they go in their closet, shut the door, and seek God's face. If we're really honest about that, most people don't do that. And so even some churches don't do that. They say prayer is important, but you navigate their prayer and just, kind of go over their prayers, you'll realize just how prayer is not really a priority, even though they say it is. And so I encourage you to start a practice of at least 10 minutes a day. That's my challenge to you starting off. At least 10 minutes a day, get alone, get somewhere quiet where you can pray. Find somewhere you can get alone and get down to business with God. Maybe it's in your car. It's a perfect place. Maybe driving to work or from work. Maybe you can't like literally shut a door, but somewhere you're not distracted by everything else, or somewhere at home that is not busy. Wherever you go, be intentional to shut off the world. Turn your phone off, turn your radio off, turn everything off, and just kind of get down to the nitty-gritty business of praying to God. Be singularly focused. No distractions from the busyness of your life. When you pray, thank God for who he is and pour out your concerns to him. Like, just give it all out. And so, in my opinion, the greatest weakness that believers in churches and the world has is prayerlessness. That's the biggest issue we have. Examine how long your church prays. I challenge you to this. I did this before at a church I was at, and it was mind-blowing. I think for the entire hour and 20-minute service, 2 minutes was devoted to prayer. But yet, as a church as a whole, I mean, it's holistically, churches don't spend time in prayer. Usually prayer is used as a transition, not as a beseeching of God of who he is. And that needs to change in our churches, but also in our own prayer life. Try to examine in time how much you spend in prayer. Just do a quick stopwatch on your phone or somewhere else and just say, how much time am I praying intentionally, like intentional prayer time. And so I want us to get to where the prayer becomes a priority for us. So if it's not a challenge, if we're not doing this, we're not challenging the status quo. And so examine how much time you pray and determine if prayer is a priority for you as well. Not just your church, but you as an individual. Prayer changes things, but if we're not praying, what will change? And so that's the challenge I have for you, is pray intimately and pray passionately, but be intentional in your prayer, and not just a prayer that you do, but something that has a purpose behind it. And so that's Jesus' challenge to the people who are hearing him. That's my challenge to you, taking from the word. Be intentional in your prayer. I'm not saying don't pray out loud, don't pray corporately, but pray where your individual prayer is with you and God, and it's intimate and it's intentional in what you do. So that's my challenge. And so tomorrow will be Matthew chapter 7 through 8. Thank you.